Hello there, I am Iron Dan, and welcome to What I'm Doing. Anyone that's been watching my Let's Plays, I've taken a bit of a break from them. Work and life kind of got in the way, visiting families and friends, and then the Steam sale hit, and I've kind of been busying myself, taking a look at some of the games that are available. As a Mac user, my choice of quote-unquote PC gaming is a little bit limited, but thanks to Steam, I found some really great games that I've been playing, and I'm sure people have covered them before, but thought I'd give you a quick look at what it is I've been playing. So without further ado, here we go. Okay, so this is Don't Starve. I've been playing it for a couple of days now. Let's just say I don't live up to the title. It's a really great little game, and it's infuriating. I've managed to unlock one other character, but I've been playing as Wilson. So we'll have a quick look at this one, and we'll start the world. So you wake up and you have no idea what's going on, and this looks very empty. Let's grab some flowers, and you're trying to stay alive, and you need to make your basic tools. It's kind of like Minecraft to start with. You need to make your basic tools, grab some food, and survive the first night. So we grab some saplings for sticks and pick up some flint. Get the flowers because you can make them into a garland, which help keep you sane. And now we've got some sticks and some flint. We can make an axe. With the axe, we can chop down the tree. It's all sort of left click. Pick up some. Oh, let's cut down this one. And I don't know. Well, obviously the aim is to not starve. I don't know if there's any other aim. I've not really played it. So the longest I've survived is 10 days. Then I got over ambitious and tried to kill a giant pig with a spear and died. It's a shame because that world I was on was really good. And hey ho. Let's get some saplings and some berries. I'll make sure we've got enough stuff to get us through the night. I'll play to the first night. Turkeys are eating. You can never seem to catch anything. Let's pick up some seeds. Make sure we get lots of wood. But I know this. I mean, it's all on. It's in the Steam sale. At least it was. I don't know if it's out of it now. That's why I picked it up. I'd heard some good things about it and figured it was worth taking a look at. And it is surprisingly entertaining. And you can lose so much time to it. It's frustrating as hell when you end up dying for no reason. But so we're getting towards the end of the first day. You can see in the top corner, tells you, I'm saying world 1 at the minute, day 1, and you can see the arrow, and that's how far through the day we've got, and then the evening, and then the night. Your 3 stats are your hunger, your sanity, and your health. At night, your sanity drops. Come on, chop it down, chop it down. Need to find some more flint and some rocks. You can research new technologies in a science machine, and with that, you need a chunk of gold because science is powered by gold. Everyone knows that. And you can use that to research other things. You can research it to eventually give you a hay roll. 10. How many do I need for 12? Okay. Pick a couple more flowers. Some sticks. One more flower I need. It's getting late. Okay, it's starting to. You can see now it's starting to get dark. And I don't think there's any more flowers around. Down here now. I've cleared out this portion. You can always hit the tab button and have a look at the map. There's a beehive down there. You can get honey from beehives. Now I think you need a beekeeper's hat, and then you can capture the bees from the hive so they don't kill you. And everything's trying to kill you, like Minecraft. Everything's trying to kill you. Let's get back to our first. So it's getting dark now. You can see our sanity's starting to drop. Pick up more wood. We'll go to the light. And we're going to build a basic campfire. Now we'll just put that down. And it gives you an area of light. The campfire. It says it's getting a bit low, so we'll grab up some more wood and we'll just left click, add some fuel. And that's getting out of hand. Anything, if the trees were closer, they'd start to burn at this point. Pick up some seeds. Now you can just eat the food as you find it. Or you can cook the food, which makes it better for you. Later on you can research things like a crock pot and other things that will make better food for you and make your food last longer, because your food does degrade over time. Okay, you can right click food straight out of the inventory into your mouth. There we go, got nice and nice full tummy. I'll pick up some more of this grass. I can make a trap. I've not seen any rabbits yet, so we'll not make a trap. And golden rocks for the science machine. Another flower. But through the night, you need to stay close to your fire, because if you don't, when it gets extremely dark, you literally cannot see a thing. That's some more seeds. And things eat you in the dark. So dark is not good. Birds will drop seeds. If you see birds on the ground, you can chase them and get them to leave their seeds. Sometimes they just fly away and leave seeds anyway. That's getting low again. Okay, now we've hit night, and as you can see, oh, mushroom. So what effect the mushroom has. I think that affects my sanity. Makes me go a bit nuts. So if I start to wander away, it gets really dark really quick, and he starts to complain. So nighttime is pretty restrictive. You can build torches, but very, very limited light. But the nights don't last that long. By the time I got to day 10, the nights were down to only 2 segments, so the days were lasting longer. So I guess we're getting close to, we're getting into summer. Apparently winter is coming, but so you need to prepare. But in a minute, I'd like to survive for 2 weeks. A nice little feature is that as he gets to about 7 days, Wilson grows a beard. You can shave that off, and shaving off his beard seems to restore some of his sanity. I don't know if it may have just been that he'd survived so long, but it seemed to give him back his sanity. Let's see if we can. What we got? Some more flint. Grass as well. There's some flint. Grass and sticks and trees are always useful. Chippity, 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 chip. There we go. Pine cones can be replanted for trees. Which is always handy. Pick up flint, which means we should be able to make. There we go, some rocks. Let's pickaxe. Right click to equip, and then just hold down left to mine. Well, we didn't get any gold from this, so we do get rocks. You can use rocks to give you a more permanent campfire. It becomes more efficient and it lasts for longer. You can use it to make part of a permanent base camp. But as far as I can tell, it's ideal. Ideally, you just want to grab resources and be on the move for the first few days. Try and keep yourself alive that way. But pick it up. It was in the Steam sale. It's fairly cheap at the minute. At least it was. I should double check really. Then have a go and play with Wilson, see if you can get him to survive. And we'll go and have a look at the next game that I've been playing for a while. I picked up in the Steam sale, and I'll let you take a look at that. Okay, so the next game on the list of things that I bought from Steam is Endless Space. It's kind of a space-based Civ game, I suppose. You build your civilization, you get started with your own system. And I started out with one planet I was able to colonize, and you build up your population, and through science you can colonize the other planets in your system, and you can use these spaceways to connect to other star systems, and you can go and colonize habitable planets in those systems, and then again you can terraform planets. You can learn to colonize the difficult planets, and then you can also learn to terraform them into the planets that will help you out more. Each system has different resources that you can discover through science, and you build your fleets and send them off and have wars and diplomacy. The diplomatic one is kind of different. You're represented in the middle, and you can look at others, and they'll go and you can see their diplomatic relations with other races. No, he's dead. At the minute, I've been playing for about 150 odd turns. I've got this alliance going with these two other factions, which puts us at war with these two factions and this fifth faction. We're in a state of what's called Cold War. When you're starting out and you're expanding your territory, when you colonize a new system, it doesn't instantly become part of your empire. It takes time for it to get settled in and bedded down, and then it'll give you the zone of influence. During that time, any other race can send fleets into it, and they can occupy it and try and take it without having to declare war. And you can engage other fleets with your fleets at this time, so that you can defend yourself, you can attack their systems, and without having to actively declare war. I managed to do this to start with before I managed to discover these guys up here for this yellow race, which are amoebas. and I managed to stop them from building down into my territory. Dravanis was a couple of gas giants that nobody could colonise. Asulu was the only habitable one. I managed to get a colony on that and then just defend it. And while they kept trying to come in and take it from me, they were constantly being beaten back, and then it joined my empire and they couldn't come through. There are two types of space lanes. These solid connections, you can just travel down willy-nilly. These wavy ones are a type of wormhole that you need to grab hold of a science skill pretty early on to be able to travel down, whereas your conventional engines will take you along these ones can be jumped down instantly. And then later on you can develop engines where you don't even need to use the space lines. It will just travel between the two stars. So we've got fleets are represented by different colours, and for the same race they're the same shape. So this orange faction is an allied empire, a United Empires fleet. They're my allies at the minute, and I'm also a United Empires faction. So our fleets are represented by the same ship, just different colours. And then you can see different races have different shaped ships. Access to fleets pretty easy. You click on where they are and it will tell you which fleets are in this sector, and you can see what ships make up that fleet. You can click on them, hover it over. I can see that for this amoeba fleet they've got one ship, it's strength 49. The strength is based on your offensive and defensive capabilities, and the little graphic is a hero. You get 3 heroes that you can hire. You'll get more heroes made available to you, and then you can assign them to either fleets or systems. Then as things are built in the systems or the fleets engage in battles, they'll become a higher rank and they can have more benefits. So this is the one guy that's my fleet commander, and all these abilities that he's massed up. It's quite a force to be reckoned with. He really does help, and they do help. And the ones for the systems can be really good, especially if your planets aren't particularly happy for some reason. They really can help boost morale. So that's your heroes. When the fleet dies, the hero gets injured, and then you have to pay to have him healed. On that, let's talk a bit more about the resources for the game. It's the system's called FIDS, and it's food, industry, dust, and science. They're your 4 basic resources. Food for population growth. More food you got, faster your population will grow for that specific system. Industry is how quickly you can produce things. Your science is that your science points help you generate your scientific discoveries, and dust is basically cash. So if you've played the Civ games, it's pretty similar. This is the Empire management screen, and you can see that I've got 2 heroes setting the planets. It will give you a quick readout on if the red ones are the enemies being threatened by enemy fleets, the population sizes, whether they're growing, shrinking. Let's have a look at this one, see what's going on there. I think that may be one I've just conquered, and maybe why it's in strike. The approval rating, which there's lots of factors that can affect it. Again, early on, the heroes can be a big factor in keeping the morale up so that the production's higher. But later on you can get technologies that will do the same. It'll give you a rundown on the production. Ships that are in the hangar are ones that you've built but haven't put into fleets yet. so that they don't. I don't think they cost you any management costs. Shows you also what resources you have and what's being used. Now, if you have more than 4 of any resource, you actually get a fleet bonus. Which I'm not entirely sure why, but that's how they chose to do it. It works pretty well. The science screen divided up into 4 branches: exploration and expansion, applied sciences, warfare, and diplomacy and trade. You can swap scientific discoveries with other nations, other factions, and you can also queue your research options. So at the moment I've got personal shielding that's going to be ready in 1 turn, but queued after that, directed plasma is ready to just fall into place, so I won't have to worry about it. And there are lots of ways to go for it. And the fleet screen shows you all your active fleets. At the minute, my hero is down on Zai. And have a look at where they are. In this one, you can also upgrade your vessel designs. When you unlock new technologies, you can have them fitted, and you can modify the design of a specific class. And then once you've saved it, you can any fleet in your space you can retrofit, which costs dust, but it's a good way to just quickly rebuild parts of your fleet if you're having to build all new ships. You can also, by using the add button, you can take the base hull and you can modify it how you want. So I split mine, and I have normally have one that's for attack and defense of fleets, and the other that's for planetary invasion. It just seems to work well. I can split the fleets in 2 and hope they don't get caught. So that's the options up here. Let's turn back to the galaxy. We'll have a quick look at what's going on. Oh, zoom too far out. There you go. So at the moment I'm allied with the Amoeba race this side and the United Empire this side. The Pilgrims, which are the green in this case, we're at war with them and they're all but wiped out. The purple amoebas, they started attacking me very early on, and so we've been having this long-standing running battle. They really did start to try to talk peace when I started cutting off their trade routes. A nice little mechanic of this game is that as you've come into a planet, you can blockade it. And when you blockade it, you blockade all the exits, and any goods that would originate from that system or would pass through that system can't. Which means you can cut off certain parts of an empire. So, I mean, I took this planet and this system from them, which wasn't a major issue for them because they could still get these resources out to the rest of their empire through this side. So I sent a small fleet up to blockade this side, and which really started to hurt them because it cut off some vital resources that they needed to produce other ships, which really did help. I'm doing the same here with this one. I've got this system blockaded because it's got some resources that they need to build the larger ships, and specific weaponry upgrades require specific resources as well. So it's a really good way to limit what the enemy can do. As I said, was saying earlier, when you take a system, it doesn't instantly get your empire sphere of influence. This one was just taken, and you can see it says it's mine, it shows it's mine, but I've not got any empire markings around it. But that will grow and that will come as the colony builds and it all settles. This faction up here, there was another faction nestled in between, but they were wiped out by my allies, and I don't think this faction is going to last much longer either. We should be in a state of Cold War here. So since we're in a state of Cold War here, let's have a look what we got here. That's okay. We'll have a quick look at the fleet engagement. Now my fleet strength is 504 for offensive and 9,744 for planetary invasion. It is an invasion fleet. But some of the extra space, they were fitted with weapons. And from the looks of it, there's one ship in this fleet, it's rating 34, so it's probably just a scout. So we'll send the fleet in, and the warfare chart shows you that the bar in the middle is your likelihood to succeed. This is really, we are likely to just win this one. And then you've got this, you can adjust how they're going to target ships. With only one ship, it doesn't really matter. And which formation you want your fleet in. I'm not entirely sure how it affects things. I tend not to mix my fleets too much, so they could. They're pretty. They are seem pretty self-explanatory, but I've not had need to change things up. So we'll set it for a protective formation. See what that does. And then you get down to these 3 boxes at the bottom. And when you click the box, you're presented with a number of cards. And this is basically a big game of rock, paper, scissors. And each card will give you advantages and disadvantages for that turn. And there's 3 turns, and it's long range, medium range, long range, short range, and melee. And the long range, your weapons for long range are missiles. Your short range are beam cannons, and then you've got kinetic rounds for the melee round. They all fire anyway, but they work better in their rounds. So you pick your cards based on what you want for the effect and what you think they're going to try and do. And if we look at this is always going for, I like to start with the short circuit. 15%, minus 15% accuracy on opponent, plus 10% accuracy on long range weapons. So if I select that for my long range, that will counter any defensive cards they try to use, unless they have camouflage, in which case camouflage actually counters a sabotage card and nobody wins. So if they were going to use weapon overlock, that's an offensive. Let me put my glasses on and rewrite. If they're going to use magnetic field, which is a defensive card, which is really good for boosting your deflectors. If you have deflectors fitted, I tend to go for armor and shields. Then I would win because my sabotage counters the defense card, so they wouldn't get an effect, and I would. It is just rock, paper, scissors. So medium range. What should we take for medium range? Let's go for tactics, adaptive strategy, and for that one, we'll go for that. You can hit the auto button and it will run through the scenario and just tell you who wins. But since we're having a bit of a demonstration, we'll go manual. In manual, you can change your pre-selected cards on the fly. So before each turn actually starts, you can select your different cards and actually change what it is you want to do. You can also change the targeting order. Down here you can see it's a bit of a timer, so you'd have this long until the end of the arrival section to change the long range card into this section to change the short range. Now, as for the cards, neither of us countered each other's, so we both get the effects of our cards. I think my battleships are carrying bombers, which you can see there. Should start to open fire soon. Okay, you see I lost there because I've gone for adaptive strategy and the weapon overlock counters my card, so they get extra benefits and I get none. This probably wasn't the best fleet to demonstrate this with because I actually have no weapons by the look of it. It's all just bombers. There we go. The bombers have really opened up there. From the look of it, because it's just the bombers, this will probably end in a draw. About to finish the melee phase, which will put things at a draw if they haven't. Yeah. The graphics for the battles are really nice. Let's see if I can find another. What we got down here? Okay, that's a draw. Let's finish that. Okay, here we go. So here we have in the ESSA system, got 3 enemy ships attacking mine. I should win easily. I've got 10 times the strength that they have. So we'll choose some cards. Just do this randomly. Hit manual. Oh, we'll just watch one more battle go on. You can see a fight in full effect. Here's my fleet floating amongst the stars, minding its own business. Here comes the amoeba fleet. I've got 3 dreadnoughts and 2 battleships. So we both get the bonuses from our cards. And you can see the missiles firing, the beams firing, and the kinetics, and that was quick. That was very quick. That was a lot quicker than I thought it would be. And this one, now we're looking at losing this one because this is an invasion fleet. So I'm just going to tell it to retreat. I should only need to do it once, but just to make sure. And we'll auto that one. And there we go. Yeah, we managed to retreat with no loss. That was Virgo. That was the fleet up here. That was blockading. How many was that? I got. What I might do is take. Shut down. I can't really move that fleet out there because I don't want to lose it. I can't rescue that fleet at the minute because I've got nothing else nearby I can really send up there to reinforce it with. But that's it. We've hit the end turn button and everything will move on to the next phase. It is a fun little game. It is very Civ-like. If you're not a fan of the Civilization games, probably won't enjoy this as much, as though it's not as in-depth as the Civ games. It is still essentially that. Well, that's it. That's Endless Space, and I'll go and have a look at the next one. Okay, so number 3 on my list of things I've been playing recently. In the Steam sale, I picked this one up. It's Civ 5. I played Civ a lot growing up. My first PC I got when I was 16. Came with a triple pack which had SimCity 2000. I think it was Civ 3 and Settlers 2. Or was it Civ 2 and Settlers 3? One way or another. I've always loved Civ games. I find now that my PC gaming is limited. I've switched over to a Mac, and but thankfully Steam seems to be able to get a lot more producers, developers to move their games over for a Mac. It's your basic Civ game. If you've played one, you've played them all basically. There are a few differences on this one at the moment. They've moved from square tiles to hexagons. So everything's now hexagon based, which adds a new strategic dimension to things. And cities can defend themselves even when they're unpopulated, or even when they've got no garrison in them. They get a ballistic attack which works for 2 spaces, once a turn. There's tweaks to some of the builds. The Great Wall now doesn't provide a free wall in every city like it used to. I mean, that may have changed in 4. I didn't play 4. And the Great Wall now encompasses all the cities that you have connected when you start to build it. And once it's completed, it costs enemy units crossing into your territory an extra movement turn. Which makes sense. The other tweak that I found that I can't decide if I like or I don't like is that now you can only have one unit of each type in a hexagon. So in this one, for example, I've got a worker. I couldn't put another worker in that tile, but I can take my archers and put them in the same tile as the workers. But I couldn't put 2 military units in the same tile. So you can no longer stack units on the tiles like you used to be able to create a defense or a build up for an attack. They now end up spaced out. I can't decide whether or not I like it or not, but it's interesting. Now, so we're quite a way through this one. With what are we on? On turn 113. In this, we also get city-states, which are independent cities. They don't count as enemy factions, but they are present, and they are literally one city, and they have a territory, and you can deal with them, you can trade with them, and you can pledge your protection, or you can attack them and wipe them out and take the city. Either way, it's up to you. You do get more. I think you do get more benefits from having them as their own, and then having them as allies, because when you start a war, they will come and help you if they are your allies, and they can stop troops from moving through them. Now, at the minute, I'm in a war with the Polish, is because I was looking to expand into the bottom of this continent, and they decided to place their city exactly where I was going to place one of mine. So, as you do in Civ, when someone does that, you just have to start a war. So, that's what we're doing. It's very beautiful. It's a good looking game, and the narration is very nice. It is just it's what you expect from a Civilization game. If you haven't played a Civ game, I recommend it. Pick it up, play it. It's really quick to pick up the basics, and you can have you playing quickly. Again, it's one of those easy to learn, difficult to master kind of games. But all in all, it's a pretty good game. I think on Steam at the minute you can get the bundle deal, which I think is the one that I bought, so you get all the add-ons with it as well. I think in the sale I managed to get all the bundle deal for what would probably have been the same price as the basic game. But it's great. I love it. I've been playing it quite a bit. This is probably about the third game that I've been playing. Just trying out different civilizations and seeing the different worlds that are generated. But no, it's another one I highly recommend. It's been eating my time pretty well, along with Endless Space and Don't Starve, and along with the game that is fourth on our list and by no means last, which we'll go and take a look at now. But definitely go pick up Civ if you haven't, and we'll go have a look at our last game, which is the Kerbal Space Program. Okay, so this is the last game I'm looking at, and I bought this a little while ago before the sale. If I'd realised it was going to be in the sale, I probably would have waited, but it's a fantastic little game. I bought it just before I took a trip down to see one of my friends, and we spent the entire weekend just building and blowing up rockets. Let's take one look at a game I got in progress. This is, if you have not played Kerbal before, this is your space centre. And you've got the launch pad where you launch your spaceships, and the vehicle assembling building where you build them. The runway you launch space planes from, which you build in a space plane hangar, and a tracking station that does what it says in the tin and tracks your active missions. So at the moment I've got 3 active missions, and we've got the step off station, which is in a relatively low orbit, fairly middling orbit, 247,000 meters away from Kerbal, and it's a refueling spot before you head off. One of the first things I did put into orbit on this one was the Iris satellite. The Iris satellite is actually in geostationary orbit, which is quite far. I never actually realised how far away things had to be for it to be in a geostationary orbit, but that matches the speed of Kerbal, and it is pretty much always above the space centre. And we've also got Starling's Roost, which is a geosynchronous space station, and from here you can go and you can look at each of them. So if we take a look at Iris just quickly, there you go. It's a little communication satellite, 4 little antennas, 4 solar panels, some batteries, and that's all that made it up there. You've got the Mun in the background there. So let's head back to the space center. I'll quickly show you the step-off station that's in orbit. Unfortunately, I struggle to get at the minute to get vehicles into space without using Mech Jeb. Mechanical Jeb is an autopilot mod downloaded from the downloaded from the community site. So this is the step-off station. It is taken It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 missions to get. 5 missions to get this lot into orbit. And the first one was this section, and then the solar section in the middle, these 2 docking sections, and then I've got a couple of rescue ships, and then they've got 3 nuclear engines on it and a load of RCS thrusters. And if one of my other ships runs into trouble, they can go out and... I've lost the top bit on that engine. I've lost the back of one of those engines. I wonder when that happened. Done some damage to that one. Might have to bring it back down to Kerbal and see if I can rescue him. I could just detach it, set it on a collision course, and eject the Kerbal, because they've all got mech jeb units on them, and the mech jeb autopilot makes docking and things really, really easy. There's still a bit of a knack to getting it lined up, even with mech jeb, but I would really like to be able to do all this stuff without it. I just haven't had the time to practice and get it right. Come. So and I wanted to see about getting things into space. So I did use mech jeb, and that's the space station. I have managed to land on the moon. My first unassisted intercept. I managed to make it to the Mun, and then I restarted. Getting him back I managed to make it to the Mun, but fluffed the return. Hence why the sudden creation of these rescue ships. With the docking ports, they can actually just scooch out to anything that I end up putting in a really random orbit, and just hook onto it, bring it back, rescue the poor Kerbal inside. So that's what that station does for me. We'll take a quick look at vehicle assembly building, and it is just it's a drag and drop. And you used to be you had to start with a copy, now you can start with anything as the basis. But if you're going to build a small ship, a small pod, and let's strap. That's a big pod. Let's get rid of that pod. On a small pod, if I can find it out. There it is, a small command pod, and we'll get a decoupler on that. Oh, there's things that you need to put on. And some things that that's a marker on. I've got some of the other mods on here. Come on, what am I looking for? That one. And there are just some bits that you need to put on. I mean, the SAS module helps keep it stabilized with turning. Okay, and just drag bits from this jet fuel, drag things from there and just pop them in. This isn't going to be the most stable of things, but huge, great big engine. You can rotate things to fit. I've not built one like this. It was very big engine on it. Okay. And then let's get some struts to hold it up. The buttons down here, you can the symmetry mode will literally add extras on. It's not liking that for some reason. There we go. And one thing I have got, one of the mod is the mech jeb. Let's put one of those on. Put one of them on, and we'll put some wings on it, help it stay front. The best thing about the mech jeb that I found is this window in the vehicle assembly building, and you can look at your Delta V stats. Let's drag that one to there. Ideally, you want the thrust to weight ratio above 2, and to make sure you achieve liftoff and just keep going. There's a whole lot of stats that you should be looking to hit, but you can easily find them on the wiki. I'm not going to run through them now. There's other people that can do a much better job of teaching you how to play this game than I can. Look, if you are interested, look for Hot Gaming or Scott Manley. And I mean, on the Hot Gaming page, he's fantastic at manually launching and docking everything. So he really does know how to. That's too big. Where's the little parachute gone? There we go. Okay. So we've got a really basic rocket, and we're just going to look at putting it up into space and bringing it back down. So we'll go to the launch pad. Yes, clear the launch pad. For some reason it picks up all the debris that was left on the launch pad from the last launch. Let's get rid of that one. We'll let MechJeb launch it, because I end up failing. See if we can get it up that high. Okay. We'll engage the autopilot, and then when we're ready, we'll just go boom, and away it goes. We've got so much thrust. You can see it's throttled right down, the autopilot, because we've got it limited to terminal velocity, so it's only using the fuel that it needs to get us up into space. It's been very efficient on fuel. You can see the fuel that we've got here. He may not even make it that high. We may not make it into orbit, but the brilliant thing that when I first started playing Kerbal is that we really struggled to get anything into orbit, and you kind of build up your own little knowledge base of what works and what can get you into orbit, and you tend to find yourself settling on a certain type of design. And then you start to try and build more advanced designs, and you play with the staging and things like that. I'm getting quite far. Done our gravity turn, but I don't think we're going to make it out. As you start getting more and more advanced, you can look at things like asparagus staging, which is like what the space shuttle uses, and as it takes off, it ditches fuel tanks to lessen the weight. Okay, I guess he was autopiloting all of it. That's bad. One downside with the autopilot is that it will just work through the stages, because I forgot to tell it not to. So I think Bob Kerman's going to die. And so yeah, it would have got up and would have let it come down its trajectory and decoupled, and then fallen to Earth, fallen to Kerbal, and then deployed the parachute at the right time. But I had the stages mixed up, and it's deployed the parachute straight away. So he'll fall to Earth, and I'm sure he'll be fine. We can have a quick look at the map. You can look at the map screen at any time, and it will show you your predicted arc, predicted path of travel. Again, there's a lot of science behind how this works, and the application of speed and things like that. Scott Manley and Half from Hot Gaming can explain this to you so much better than I can. I highly recommend you go have a look at their channels and see what they are doing with this game, because it is simply fantastic. So yeah, it's going to end up, if he makes it back down to Kerbal, you can see that the craft is going to splash down in the water, and what's left of it will splash down not too far from it. But we're just going to end the flight now. We don't need to see him crash and burn. So go back to special. So that is Kerbal, and you can. That is the very basic entry into Kerbal. Getting your first spaceship into orbit. It's still in development, and there's a lot of stuff on the community site for the mods. There's meant to be a whole mission side added. You can see when we're in the vehicle assembly building, things had a cost associated with it. At the moment, it's like this is a sandbox mode. You can just build whatever you like. There's no costs, and you can. There's 2 moons for Kerbal. The moon or the Mun, depending on how you want to pronounce it, and Minmus. You can visit and you can land on, and you can plant your flags and put a plaque on. And then there's other planets in the Kerbal system. I don't know if I can. We zoom out from Kerbin, you can see Minmus and the Mun. And as we zoom out more, you can see the other planetary bodies. Moho, Eve, Duna, Drez, Jewel, and Elu right out on the fringes there. And you can travel to each and every one of these, and they've all got their own satellites. So here we go around Jewel. You've got 5 moons that you can visit, and so there's so much that you can do with Kerbal. I mean, just trying to visit each one will take you a tremendous amount of time to get the builds done and the right amount of fuel, and there's just so much focus you can put into it, and you can literally play it for hours and hours, and you can have so much fun. If before you're downloading MechJeb, we are having so much fun just trying to do basic space missions, just trying to get into orbit and then a controlled splashdown. That's once you when you're not using the autopilot, doing that for the first time, you have such this amazing sense of achievement. And then as you start to understand it more and the principles behind it, and you work out what should go where, and you when you get your first craft in orbit again, it's such a sense of achievement. And it's those little steps that you know that the real space agencies took into getting men on the moon, and that the unmanned probes, and then the one-man capsules going up and back down, the slingshots around the moon to come home, and all of that. And those are the little steps that you end up taking yourself in building up your designs and your knowledge into getting your Kerbals safely to and from these interstellar bodies. I can't praise this game enough. It is absolutely fantastic. It's what's taken a lot of my time from playing Minecraft, which I know I haven't done any of my Let's Plays in a while. It's because I had my time taken up with work, family, and Kerbal. it's one of those little games that just becomes addictive. But yeah, go pick it up. It was on sale. Hopefully it still is, because if you haven't got it, you so should get it and just experiment and play. Yeah, that's my quick look at what I've been playing from the Steam sale. So hopefully you can grab yourself some of those. And from me and my Kerbal Noughts, we'll see you next time. Have fun.